Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Our aim today is to feel like we thoroughly work the body by the end of the class. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up today in the middle of the mat with equal play on either sides, coming into a small Pilates V. To find the frame, heel toe in, keep the heels squeezing together and just gently peel the toes open to make a small V. We're going to begin with the arms relaxed, overlaying one hand over the other on the chest. Find a small 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. Keep that gentle tilt and then begin to play with the arms, sweeping one arm out and back and starting to alternate, working a gentle rotating, twisting motion through the trunk. Keeping the arms floating at about shoulder height as you open them and float them behind you. Let's do 2 more sets. Last set. Keep the hands on your chest or relax them to your side as you begin to find a bend pattern through the knees. Two more. Then we're going to add to the loading. So the next time you bend, you're going to peel the heels off the floor, keep them together, and then reground. Peel them off, but they're still touching one another and back. Two more to go. We're going to end in the bend with the heel lift, and we're going to add a small pelvic tilt and release. Tilt and release. Let's do 7, 5, 3, last one. Release back to a tall stand. Relax the arms at your side or place them on your hip creases. You're going to keep that slight turnout position through the legs, but you're going to float the right leg behind you. Keep the turnout position. We're going to do a small leg lift. Think arabesque. Look for a long stretchy line through the leg. Let's do 5, 3. You're going to end in the lift and you're going to squeeze towards the midline and back. Last one. Find your V position. Give the legs a little shake out. Maybe you need to release your support ankle. Let's do the same on the second side. Find your step out position. Keep that slight turnout on both feet. We're going to end in the lift and we're going to squeeze towards the midline and back. Find your way back to your turnout position. Give the legs a shake out. We're going to heel toe out and set up a wide straddle line. Your straddle line has to be the right width apart so that you can comfortably come into a deeper plie line on the mat. So just check your line. We're going to relax those hands to our chest again. And we're going to start to play with that opening pattern through the arm, keeping the legs extended for 5. And then opening both arms together for 5, opening up generously through the chest. Place the hands back on your chest and this time bend at the knees and then begin to play with that sweep side to side for a further 5 rounds. Last set. We're going to double up and we're going to open both together. Find your way back to your stacked hand position. We're going to plie down and up, keeping the hands on the chest, or you can relax them to your hip creases. Bend low and hold. Extend the legs, sweep both arms back. Place both hands on your chest. We're going to plie, add a heel lift, reconnect, extend. Bend to lift, reconnect to straighten. We're at 8. 6. 4. 2. We're going to end low and then we're going to alternate, connecting one heel and disconnecting the other and leaning into one side as we play. Let's do 4, 2, last one. Stand up nice and tall, sweep both arms behind you. We're going to come back into that deep plie. I'm going to give you a front view and then a side view. As you come into the plie, you're going to start with the hands on the tops of your thighs and you're going to brush the hands down, either ending, cupping your knees or cupping the ankles from the side. As you come into that line, you're going to press your bum back towards the back of the room, then you're going to drop it down. So you're going to lift and drop through your bottom and you're going to shoot for 10 repeats. It is going to become quite intense. You're going to feel that burn. Once you've done 10, you're going to find your way to a seated frame at the top end of your mat with enough room to arrive on the back without your head and your shoulders coming off the mat. Find your seat, sitting up nice and tall, and place your hands gently on your chest. We're going to play with that sweeping arm motion, opening side to side, looking for that gentle oblique activation as we hold a nice tall seat on the mat. Try to keep all 10 toes connected. Try to keep your knees from falling out by pretending that you're holding on to a soccer ball between the knees. Last one. Hold on to the back of your thighs. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, we're going to round out in C-curve, tipping the weight off our tailbone and holding that contraction in the belly before you float back up. Let's shoot for 4 more, finding the contraction in the belly and holding it without hanging on to the back of your thigh. So try to keep the work in the core. Don't use your hands too much. Last one, we're going to hold the last one for 10. Then sit up nice and tall. Squeeze your shins into center as you lengthen the line of your spine. Cross your hands over your chest and begin to play with that side to side sweeping motion, drawing one arm behind you as you rotate gently through the trunk. One more to each side, then we'll come back to our C curve. This time we'll cup in front of the thighs. Just take a stretch before we start. All right. So we're going to start with the hands cupping around the knees. As we round out into C curve, we're going to reach the arms out in front. Pause. Then inhale to sit up nice and tall. We're shooting for 5 repeats with control. Exhale as you round out and tip the weight off your tailbone, finding your abs. Inhale to sit up nice and tall. One more. Then we kind of come back into that rotational movement through the trunk. So sit up nice and tall, take a stretch through the spine, and then place your hands one over the other on your chest. And when you're ready, begin with that rotational movement, opening up one arm and sweeping it behind you as far as your trunk will rotate. Keep your feet grounded, keep your knees switched on. Let's shoot for 2 more sets before we come into our last set of C-curve. Take a nice tall seat, hug your shins, lengthen the line of your spine. This time we're going to start with the arms floated out in front. We're going to take a big breath into prep. On an exhale, we're going to round out in C-curve and we're going to bring the arms overhead so it feels like they're framing your ears. Pause. And then inhale to come back to your seat. We're going to do 4 more repeats. Last one, we're going to hold for 10. Stay here or drop into a hollow hold. You can keep the hands floating over your shoulders. You can extend the legs so that you're in a banana frame through the body, or you can bend them into table if you prefer. Find the frame that works for you and hold. Then relax your head, your shoulders, your feet to the floor. We are coming into a set of clams on the mat. We'll do the first set with the arms alongside the body, palm down. Start in neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Use a small 12 o'clock tilt and imprint. Bleed your legs up into a narrow table, squeezing the feet and the knees together. Keep the feet together as you open the knees and squeeze them back shut again for 10. Last one. Find your way back down to the mat, opening up your legs into parallel and interlacing the hands loosely behind your head, making a little basket. We're coming into some chest lifts. You're going to begin in neutral. You're going to find your tilt and imprint. You're going to bleed up into the chest lift, leading with your abs, not pulling on your head or your neck, and then inhale to float back down. Shoot for anywhere between 5 to 10 repeats, keeping your elbows nice and wide and making sure that you're leading with your abs, not pulling, not yanking. Exhale as you bleed up into the chest lift. Inhale as you come back down. Then relax the arms alongside the body, coming back into our clams, but we'll mix it up and we'll add to the movement. Start in neutral. Find your tilt and your imprint and draw the legs into the narrow tabletop line with that active squeeze along the midline. Then keep that hollow belly and a rounded back as you float the hands overhead, palms in. Lift both shoulder blades off the mat and then drop and anchor them and keep them anchored. Bring the two palms gently together. Open your knees, squeeze the two palms together, then squeeze the knees shut and release the press into the palms. So the hands and the knees are working in opposition. Every time the knees open, the palms squeeze. Every time the knees squeeze, the palms relax. Let's call that 7. 5. 3. The last one. Lean back down to the mat, opening up your legs into parallel. We're coming back into our chest lift and we'll add an across the midline reach, playing in an alternating fashion, right and left. Begin in neutral. Find your 12 o'clock tilt and imprint. As you bleed up into the chest lift, press down into your left palm and then reach across the midline with your right hand and start to play side to side. Pressing down into the mat with one hand and reaching across the midline with the other hand as if you were reaching for the outer edge of your mat. Exhale as you scoop and peel up into the chest lift. Inhale as you come down. One more set. Then we'll come back into our working supine clamp and we'll change the hand line. Begin in neutral, find your tilt and your imprint, bring the legs up into a narrow tabletop line, float the hands overhead. This time you're going to do palms looking towards your knees. You're going to keep that hollow frame and you're going to drop the hands, let's say just above your hairline. You're going to hold the arms there, holding the weight of your arms as you open and close through the knees. Don't lose your tilt. Last one. Float back down to the mat. Take a recovery breath or two. Tuck your hands behind your head. We're coming into a little around the world pattern. And we'll work clockwise on the first round. Begin in neutral. Find your 12 o'clock tilt and imprint. As you bleed up into the chest lift, come up off center to the left. Circle right. Don't totally reconnect to the mat and keep circling round. So once you've lifted off the mat the first time, the shoulders don't completely ground again, and you keep tracing that around the world pattern for roughly 10 repeats. Once you've done your 10 repeats, float back down to the mat and give yourself at least 3 deep recovery breaths before we repeat on the second side, looking to move anti-clockwise this time. Ready to play? Let's tilt and imprint, bleed up, come up off center to the right, circle left, and keep circumnavigating your globe. Last one. Bleed back down to the mat. As you take recovery, roll over onto your side, setting yourself up for a set of working clamps. Let's come low to the mat. Bottom arm could be long, it could be bent, or it could be a prop. We're going to try to stack the neck, the spine, and the heels on the same axis, and we'll keep fingertips to floor. We're going to come into a diamond climb. So as you open the knees, you're going to lift the feet, make the diamond, and then close it. Let's do 10 repeats. Two more to go. We're going to end in the diamond. Focus on your big toes. Tap the big toes together. Then change the tap pattern, use your heels. So give me a turnout position. Then from here, roll over onto your belly, stacking your arms so that you can rest your forehead on the back of your hands, and give me a turnout position on the legs. So drop your inner ankles towards the floor so that your inner thighs are looking down towards the mat. We're going to come into a leg lift pattern, and we are going to play single, single, double. Relaxing your forehead to the back of your hands, you're going to give me a single lift right, a single lift left, and then a double up. And we're going to shoot for 10 repeats, keeping the limbs long and reaching, focusing on length, not height. Keep the turnout position. We've got 5 more sets to go. Last set, we're going to end in the double leg lift, and we're going to squeeze the heels towards the midline as if we were pulsing into a small soccer ball. 5, 3, the last one. Relax the legs into a soft parallel line and set yourself up for a cobra, starting to draw the elbows in towards the rib cage and placing your palms on the mat alongside your bosom. Pick the cobra line that resonates for you. Find that small marble underneath your nose. Start to roll it away and begin to articulate up. You can stop small with 3, 2, or 1 rib still on the mat. You could stop on your belly button, or you could come into full extension, keeping a soft micro bend in the elbows. Relaxing your shoulders away from your ears and lengthening through the line of your spine. Then press back into a parallel child. Taking a deep breath here. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, coming to rest on the side of your head and making the shoulder of your threaded arm nice and heavy. Reach through your threaded fingertips. Lead your way back to center, and then when you're ready, thread to the second side. Making your threaded arm nice and heavy. Lead your way back into extension, and then set up your frame for between 5 and 10 push-ups, and you can play with some variations here. You can either keep the feet connected to the mat, you could take your hands narrow, so stacking underneath your shoulders so that you're working tricep, or you can take it wider, allowing the elbows to track wide so that you're working chest. You can do feet on the floor, feet floating, or you could work from a full plank line. So pick your poison. You can even mix it up, maybe doing 5 full push-ups And then maybe doing 5 with your knees on the floor and your feet floating. Keep belly to spine throughout, no matter which variant you've picked. Then sit back, bum to heel, releasing your wrists and flipping over so that we can work the second side of the body. We're coming into a hollow hold. Find your way onto the back. Float the hands alongside your ears and find that hollow frame. Then relax back down to the mat. Bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming into our working clam lines and we'll do the first set, arms alongside the body. Find your tilt and your imprint and draw the legs into a narrow table with a squeeze along the midline. Keep the feet together as you open and close the knees. Don't lose that tilt. So you're trying to hollow your belly and round out your back and keep that contraction. Last one. Bleed back down to the mat, opening up your legs into parallel and tucking the hands behind your head for some chest lifts. Tilt and imprint, bleed up into the chest lift, looking down towards your flat belly, and then inhale to float down, shooting for between 5 to 10 repeats. Lead with your abs, not your head, not your neck, not your arms. Last one. Coming back to our working clams, start by relaxing the arms alongside the body. Find your tilt and imprint and draw the legs into a narrow table with an active squeeze along the midline. Float the hands up, palms looking into center. Disconnect your shoulders and then anchor and drop and hold that anchor. Bring the two palms together. Open the knees, squeeze the palms, squeeze the knees, relax the palms and begin to play for 10 successive rounds. Last one. Lead your way back down to the mat. Tuck the hands behind your head. We're coming into our chest lift with an across the midline reach. And we'll change it up and we'll use hands behind the head on this one. So we're going to tilt and imprint. We're going to bleed up. You're going to reach across the midline, keeping one hand behind your head. As you do so, if you find that too difficult, you can start with the hands alongside the body and press one palm into the mat as you reach across the midline with the other hand. So play it up and see where you'd like to be. Shoot for roughly 10 repeats if you can manage it. Let's do one more set, and then we'll come back into our working supine clam line. Find your tilt and your imprint, and draw the legs into your narrow table. Float the hands overhead and drop them just shy of your head, palms looking up to the sky. You're going to hold the arms there as you open and close through the knees, thinking hollow belly, slightly rounded back. Peel back down to the mat, opening up your legs into parallel. We're coming into our little around the world chest lift, and we'll work clockwise first. Sorry, my bad. Hands behind the head. Find your tilt and your imprint. Bleed up into the chest lift. Off center to the left, circle right, and keep circumnavigating, not allowing your shoulder blades to fully ground after your first lift. Trace 10 circles. Once you've done 10, lead your way back down to the mat and give yourself at least 3 recovery breaths before we repeat, working anti-clockwise on the second round. You know where you're going to. Tilt and imprint when you're ready. Peel up and begin to circle up. Lead back down to the mat, take recovery, and while you're doing so, flip over onto your side. We're going to set ourselves up for our working climb line. Pick the arm position that works for you on the bottom hand. Stack your legs. Make sure that your neck, your spine, and your heels are on the same axis. We're coming into our diamond climb. So as we open the knees, we're going to lift the feet and then bring everything down, shooting for 10 repeats. And in the diamond, focus on your toes, begin to tap out. Then tap your heels. Last one. Bleed onto your belly, stacking your arms so that you can relax your forehead and find a turnout position on the legs, dropping your heels and your inner ankles towards the floor. Our lifting pattern is single, single, double, and we're going to shoot for 10 repeats. Lifting one leg, then the other, then both legs together. Looking for length, not height. Keeping your forehead connected to the back of your hands so that your neckline stays in neutral. We're at 6. 4. 2. Last one, we're going to end in the double leg lift and we're going to squeeze the heels towards the midline as if we were pulsing into a soccer ball. Then relax the legs into parallel onto the floor. We're coming into our working cobra line. So you're going to think still belly button down, and we're going to move belly button up. You're going to place your palms on the mat alongside your bosom, keeping your elbows squeezing into center. You're going to find that little marble under your nose, and you're going to begin to articulate up, picking the cobra line that works for you. Hold for 10. Then press back into child pose, arms long and extended. And we'll use this extended child line to thread the needle, taking a big breath in. Thread the right arm underneath the left armpit. making the shoulder of your threaded arm nice and heavy and reaching through your threaded fingertips. Lead your way back to center before doing the same on the second side. Find your way back to the middle and then set up 10 push-ups of your choice, taking your arm line narrow or wide. You can use bent knees or you can come into a full plank line. You can even mix it up, maybe doing 5 from a full plank, maybe doing 5 with a bent knee. We're going to find our way from here back into child pose, releasing through the wrists, thinking fingers up to sky. Then find your way into a basic down dog hold to stretch the entire body. Think 4-point kneel, tuck your toes under, pike your bum up, and then maybe slide your feet half to a full space forward and see if you can anchor through the entire foot and look for an intense stretch from your hips to your feet, from your shoulders to your hands, through the entire line of the spine, making your crown nice and heavy to the floor. Keep your belly button pulled into center. Stretch. Then find your way into the tips of your fingers and walk your hands back towards your legs, coming into a forward fold. You can either do fingers or palms to floor, or you can connect your hands to your shins or higher up along the chain of the leg. Try to hold for 20 seconds. Maybe sweeping the arms behind you halfway through, looking for an interlace and a nice little stretch through the arms. Then soften the knees, peel back up, coming into a standing back bend, dropping your interlaced hands towards the floor, squeezing the two shoulder blades together and bumping the hips forward over the knees. Then stand up nice and tall, restack your body, release the shoulders, tracing 3 circular shrugs through the shoulders front and 3 back. Give yourself 4 roll down patterns to end off today. We'll begin in parallel. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Hollow out your belly as if you were rounding out over a barrel. Take a recovery inhale at the end of your roll down and then use your exhale to restack over the barrel. Then do your next one from the turnout position with the heels together and the toes wide, wrapping into the inside and the outside of your leg. Find your rhythm, work with your breath. Do the next roll down from the parallel line. And then the last roll down from the turnout position so that you're back to your turnout position where we began right at the beginning of the class. Keep your turnout position. Take a big breath in, circling the hands slowly overhead. Come down along the center line. Place your hands on your chest, overlaying one over the other. Take a big breath in, and then on an exhale, sweep both hands behind you, opening up generously through your chest center and drawing the 2 shoulder blades closer together. Take a nice little stretch through your belly and your chest and your arms. Then bring your hands back to your chest as you restack and realign, nodding chin to chest, Thank you for thoroughly working out with me today. Hope you enjoyed today's practice. Till next time, keep it light.